Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, Captain Matt. My name is Matt, I'm a captain out here in the Middle East. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you're returning back to the channel, that is brilliant. Either way, if you haven't subscribed to Captain Matt yet, I would please ask you to do so. We are moving towards that magic 1,000 subscribers, and it means everything to us when we get closer and closer to that number. So here we are today in the A350 flight deck. We're in Toulouse, or over the top of Toulouse at the moment in southern France. And the question for today is, can you stall an Airbus? So if you're ready to answer that question, let's get going. So on the question of can you stall the Airbus, basically the Airbus has three flight control laws, or three levels of degradation if you like, that the Airbus works under. When everything is working perfectly, we're in normal law, where we have a lot of protections to stop us getting into trouble. From there, we downgrade to alternate law. Now there's alternate law 1, alternate law 2, but we're not going to get into alternate law today. But basically, alternate law offers a lower level of protection where it is possible to get yourself into a little trouble. And behind that, further degradation, we would end up in direct law, where the airplane is much more akin to a light aircraft, if you like, where we are flying pitch and power. There's no autopilot, there's no auto thrust. So you are flying the airplane manually, using trims and just flying as you would in any basic aircraft. Now, both alternate and direct law are perfectly safe, and they're designed that you can fly the airplane for long distances in those modes. But today we're going to focus primarily on normal law, and we're going to have a look at whether the airplane allows us to stall in normal law. So let's get going, let's set the airplane up, and we'll have a look what normal law does. Ready? So I guess before we get into can an Airbus stall, we should answer the question, what is a stall? Well, basically a stall is when there is a sudden loss of lift over an aerofoil when an angle of attack is exceeded. Okay, now that sounds slightly complicated. So basically what happens with the wing, as we can see from this diagram, is that air should flow smoothly over the top. As we can see from this video, that's exactly what's going on. The angle of attack, or the angle the aerofoil meets the incoming wind, is low, and all the little tassels are flowing directly backwards. But as they slow the speed, you can see the tassels at the back begin to break away, slowly more and more break away, indicating the wing is beginning to stall. Now as they lower the angle of attack again, the tassels go back in line with the direction of the wind. This is basically how a stall occurs. If our angle of attack becomes too great and our speed becomes too slow, the wind over the top of the aircraft, over the top of the wing, will break away and will generate less lift, or a stall. So as we go again, look, if you look carefully, you can see that the breakaway occurs initially at the wing root and works its way out towards the wing tip, and vice versa. In recovery, the wing tip unstalls first, working its way towards the wing root. I think this video is a perfect example of how we look at a stall. Anyway, let's get back to Toulouse and have a look at what happens with the Airbus in normal law. So here we are, over Toulouse, 10,000 feet. The airplane is flying. We've got the flight directors, the autopilot, the auto thrust on. Of course, for this, we don't want that, so let's take the autopilot off to start with. And then the flight directors will put the bird on, which is our reference, our flight path vector. And finally, we'll take the auto thrust off, so we use the disconnect buttons. There we go. So the airplane is now under my control. So what we'll do is we'll close the thrust levers, and we will roll in, let's say, 30 degrees of bank to start with, and we maintain level. Now as we can see, the speed is beginning to drop off, and what we're going to do is we will increase our bank angle to 66 degrees just before we get into the low speed range, and we'll have a look at how the Airbus reacts when we're in the low speed range. Now in the low speed range, at the bottom of the speed tape here, there are three distinct areas. The first area, the first amber area, is called VLS. That's the lowest selectable speed that I can select up here. And then the black and amber area, that is V alpha prot, or V alpha protection. And below that is V alpha max. So what's going to happen? Okay, we're getting towards the speed range now. So I'm going to roll into 66 degrees of bank, and I'm going to apply back pressure. I need full back stick to get into there. And as we can see, alpha floor, this is our first protection. The thrust will now increase to maximum power. I am in V alpha prop, so the airplane's saying, I'm going to take you back out of this protection. But I'm keeping that back stick, I'm keeping the pressure. As you can see, my bank angle has reduced from 66 degrees, let me cancel that, 66 to about 50 degrees. Now I'm into V alpha max. The airplane is still climbing. The speed is still dropping. So the airplane says, what are you doing? So it will reduce. I need two hands to hold this, it's so stiff. As you can see now, look, our vertical speed is decreasing. That means the nose of the airplane is coming down. We still have maximum power. The bank angle is limited to 45 degrees. Once we're in V alpha max, the airplane won't allow us to go more than 45 degrees. So I'm keeping full back stick, but the airplane is now pitching down. And it will recover to the top V alpha prot. And once it gets to V alpha prot, it says, okay, Matt, I've recovered this for you. You have control again. So it will start to do what my side stick is asking, which is pitch up and go back to 66 degrees. So as we can see, the bank angle is increasing back towards 50, 55, towards 60 degrees. The airplane is beginning to climb again. The speed now drops back into V alpha max. See, I'm back into V alpha max. In a minute, the airplane will take over again and say, what are you doing? And it will recover back to the top of V alpha prot again. So here we go. We're back into V alpha max. We're still climbing. The thrust is still on. But I'm getting below 180 knots now. So this, as we can see, again, my vertical speed starts decreasing. The pitch of the airplane will decrease. The speed will start to build up, and once we get to V alpha prot, my bank angle will increase because I'm back at 45 degrees. My speed will increase to V alpha prot. Here we go. We get towards V alpha prot. Here we are now. And now it will give me control again of the side stick. So, as the speed increases, my bank angle starts to move again, and I go back to climbing again. And the airplane will continue to do this over and over and over again, keeping me protected so that I cannot stall the airplane in normal law. Okay, so let's roll out. Roll out, woo, off we go, push the nose down. And we can see now, we've come out of the protection, the alpha floor protection has come off, and it's asking me to re-engage the auto thrust. So I put the thrust to climb, and I re-engage the auto thrust, and the airplane is stable, and nothing has happened. You cannot stall the airplane in normal law. Folks, that concludes this little video on the Airbus normal law stall protection. Hope you've enjoyed it, hope you found it interesting, and you learned something about the Airbus protections that maybe you didn't know before. If you'd like to see more about protections or something else on the 350 or 380 or pretty much any Airbus for that matter, leave us a comment down below. If you did like the video, of course, hit that like button, and most important of all, do please subscribe to the channel. It means everything to us. But for now, as we approach the mountains down here in southern France, that's it from us at Captain Matt. Hope to see you again really soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.